Now I see why you put one in your mouth.
Yeah, because it's so much more convenient to hold it in your mouth. It may not be sanitary, but it
Well,
works.
if you're the only one using it.
Yeah, I better not see you biting on my paintbrushes.
Okay.
No, Lucinda, you can bite on my paintbrush. It's fine with me.
What?
I told her she can bite on my paintbrush. I'm okay with that.
Does that look okay?
Yeah, it's looking nice. You just like, yeah, that looks really good. See how like soft it is?
Yeah.
On the outside, so it's not like a point, you know, and if it is like a point, then I take the sponge and I like soften it, but no, that looks really good.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and you saw like how frequently I dipped my paintbrush in my paint. It wasn't that frequent.
Yeah.
Like I kind of can almost get one full limb done without going back into the paint, but you know, don't feel like you have to try to stretch your paint just because that's what I do, you know. with time you'll figure it out. They're really cute. Am I a good teacher?
Yeah, you really are.
Oh, good.
Like, I had no idea any of this, which is why I felt so discouraged to paint, because I was like, it takes me so long to make a baby and it's not even coming out good. And
it's discouraging. I mean, I watched Jackie make a lot of errors. And then I learned from there, and then like now, like I used to, when I painted and I wasn't confident, I used to always have to ask her, what next, and she'd be like, okay, well maybe this, and now like I never ask her. Sometimes I do, I'll be like, I'm kind of still seeing.
I slowly pushed you off.
Yeah, because you were like, well, figure it out on your own.
Oh no, I was like, you're never gonna learn how to paint if you don't try to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. Well, I just let the kit guide me. I don't fight with the kit.
Yeah.
Like I don't try to be like, you're gonna go this way, when it really, the kit speaks to you. It's weird. It'll, you know, like I have a vision, but it doesn't always go that way. It's just whatever the baby wants to do. Alright, so Lucinda and I have not recorded every step of the way, but we have done the veins, you can see, and the creasing is all done on both of our dolls. So now we're gonna do the mottling. The mottling I use is Genesis Red and Quinidrone, I don't know, Magenta 03. I ain't even gonna try to pronounce that. That is a crazy name. And then Genesis Red, okay. So I use Mona Lisa thinner. You get it at Michael's. You probably get it somewhere else. I don't know where else. We're gonna make enough mottling so my mottling sticks around for a little while. And this, like, I'm looking for this color of pinkish red. It's like the same thing I use, but it changes every time because obviously I, you know, have to make new mixes. It's more magenta than it is red, let's say. Pretty sure. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of red. I have a lot of thinner to work with, so I put a bit of red. So it's still kind of thin in there.
Yeah.
It is a thin paint. It's not super thick, but it's just more magenta. And it changes each time. Like sometimes it could be lighter, or it's just what I like at the moment, I guess. This might be, oh god, I almost spilled that. Okay, so we're gonna try it. See that pretty magenta color? I'm just gonna try, you guys can see that pretty magenta color. It's not as easy for you to see. Let's see what we have with this. So I always have, I usually have paper towels here. Oh, that's what's missing. So then I'm not painting on my pee pads. But I eventually get to my pee pads, either my paper towels get dirty and then I'm just lazy, I don't want to get any more out. Or we run out of paper towels. We use a lot of paper towels. So I just test it out, like on an area that's not a super highly visible area. I always dab it a couple times here. I think I have some paint. from, you know, just mixing it. Sometimes the paint is left in the brush. So you don't want the paint because then it really sticks. So then that is actually a pretty nice color. Can't really see it, but you see how it's darker right there?
Yeah.
You don't want that. So you kind of like tap it off. But if I clean my sponge again, because we just mixed the paint, so the paint does get caught in the brush. So if we mix it up again and try it, we might have a smooth, oh yeah, see now it's totally even.
Yeah.
So we don't have any darknesses there. Typically, I'm gonna do 2 mottling sessions right now. I like mottling on my babies. I mean, I like it to look realistic, but oh, it's like I got paint transferred up here. All the times, like I saw my nephew, even when it wasn't cold, he had a lot of mottling, even like as 1 year old. So I don't know, I like mottling. I think it helps add to the realism. When I see the babies without mottling and kind of turned off by the kit, I just don't like it. So see how that's,
Yeah.
it's not even up top because I somehow got paint on my hand and touched it there. And like on the head, when I work on the head, I don't start on the forehead exactly. I start in the middle of the head and then I work down, so I don't have like the freshness of paint going onto the face, because the mottling you do everywhere. So I always feel like, oh, I want to start back here so it gradually gets like slightly lighter. It's not much lighter. And you just, everything is all connected. You don't do mottling on the nose. And I don't do mottling on the ears. Jackie does.
Sometimes.
But never on the nose.
I'm going to grab something.
So I get through like half of the head with the mottling with the one sponge, and then halfway through the head I go back and do it again, because I've noticed if I try to carry my paint, you're gonna end up really redoing it, because you're gonna have like spots where it shows. It just starts to, as it gets lighter and lighter, once it bakes you really don't see it. So I halfway through the mottling process, I add more paint to keep it like a consistent, even level throughout the whole kit. And typically, like I said, I do 2 layers of mottling right now. We'll see how this first layer looks. I might do a second layer later. That little back here came from. So it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll let that dry, and then I just do it for, as you can see between the 2 heads, it's already given a bit of difference in there. You can see which one's got the mottling. It's just like each layer you do should gradually add more life. I don't remember if I put the paint on here. I think I did. But it should always be like, each layer is a progression in bringing the doll to life. Like, never really want to do layers and you don't like see a change, I guess. I feel like every time I do a layer of work on the doll, I see a change in the doll, like it's closer to coming alive. If you're doing layers and you don't see anything taking place, I would change something, because that just means one of your paints are too thin, or if it looks chalky when it goes on, something is just too thick. You don't want this mottling to be like, bam, chicken pot red. So sometimes that's why like you dab it, and if it looks too dark, then you're like, okay, we need to add more thinner or whatever. So yeah, you should never have useless layers. To me, like, every layer I do does something. It doesn't just look the same when I'm done. As you've seen that each time we've done something, you see something change in the kit.
Yeah.
Not versus like, well, what did we just do? Because I can't tell the difference. You know, and back when we first started painting, that's kind of how it was. 20 layers in of skin layer, we saw something take place. It was like, why do we have to do so much skin? And it's just taking forever. So, so yeah, it's starting to get lighter here. I'm gonna put more paint because I want to keep it even. So as I see it start to get lighter, then I know that I need more paint to go down on my sponge, so the baby can kind of have like an even placement of mottling. But this is just what works for me. It may not work for everybody else, but that is what works. And these I can just usually just sit here because it dries really fast.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel like the mottling that comes off of the doll, but if it does, then I'll just go in that area.
So I noticed that you don't, on the bottom of the feet and on the bottom of the hands, you don't put mottling.
Yeah, I don't put mottling.
Okay.
I think Jackie does, but I don't. I don't know, I just do some, I never really have. I didn't really notice that Jackie did until recently, but I just, for some reason I don't do it there. I think because the bottoms of my feet, they're pink, and I don't know, just don't. One time for a while,
Don't okay said that.
one time I stopped doing veins on the feet. I got called out by Jackie and Brianna. They're like, well, notice you're not doing veins anymore on the tops of the feet. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel like it right now. Alright, how about that? There's been a time where Jackie just wasn't tipping the nails. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah,
You need to tip the nails.
I
That's
don't feel like it.
super important.
This was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like all the dolls. It was just like a couple dolls, and I got called out real quick.
Yep.
Brianna.
It was so funny. I was like, I told you you're gonna get called out. Why is there no tipping on the nails? So yeah, so that's how, it's the next step of our chaos. It's
Okay.
not chaos. That's the next step of our journey.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to In Love with Reborns 2011. Click that notification button, turn on the bells, don't ever miss a video. Like this video, share it with your friends. Did you do it?